Hi there, Dave Richard here with a few words about millennials. It should be obvious that we've created an entire generation of kids and young adults who get upset about most everything they don't really know about. And that means they get upset a lot. Take your typical Bernie Sanders supporter, please. No, I'm joking, really. They're young, idealistic, growing up thinking that society owes them something for merely taking up space and breathing the same air you and I breathe each and every day. Most Americans I know grew up asking, what do I have to do to make a living? Millennials stage sit-ins and ask, where's my free stuff? These kids want everything handed to them. $15 an hour starting wages for unskilled labor, free college tuition, and free health care. Reaching 21 years of age used to be considered a milestone. Now it's a crowning glory of achievement. I'm 21. What do I get for that? Want to know what you get? How about a job? Oh, that's right. There aren't any jobs available for people who get liberal arts degrees in French literature or political science. Maybe there would be jobs if you cupcakes had bothered to vote for a guy who, I don't know, actually knew how to create a job. But I digress. When you talk with a Sanders supporter, the first thing they'll tell you is that we need to decriminalize pot and tax it. Great idea. Let's create future generations with less motivation to work for the things they want than we have today. And then let's tax the unemployable for their pot habit. Sounds like a surefire way to generate revenue in the future now, doesn't it? Oh, and while we're at it, let's make health care right. If you look back at the U.S. Constitution, you'll see that all rights have been specifically enumerated. The right to freedom of speech, to practice the religion of your choosing, the right to assemble, and to protect ourselves with a gun. All these rights have one thing in common. You can enjoy them without the participation of others. That's what makes them a right in the first place. So, how can health care ever be considered a right if it requires the participation of a doctor? The good news is that if millennials get their way, we'll have a whole new generation of gastroenterologists. After all, most millennials have their heads so far up their own butts that they can perform their own colonoscopies on a daily basis. How's that for saving $3,000 a year? Heck, let's see how well they do performing that triple bypass surgery on themselves in, about 40 years after a lifetime of eating fast food. Now, this is not to say that Bernie Sanders supporters are crazy. Okay, maybe a little. How else can you explain their rationale that they don't want free stuff like healthcare or college, they just want the government to pay for it? Maybe they never learned that government can only provide the services they want by two methods: printing money it doesn't have, or taking money from people who work, which automatically leaves out a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters. The bottom line here is that life requires more effort than showing up at the polls every 4 years to vote for someone that will take from others so that you can be comfortable. Government isn't your proxy to play Robin Hood, because at some point, the money isn't going to be there to take anymore. So get out there and experience something you haven't done before, like work. Find something you're good at, and maybe, just maybe, it might be something that someone who has money is willing to pay you to do, because anything else is just existing. I mean, just because you Bernie supporters are destined to die alone in an apartment full of cats doesn't mean everybody has to.